sit right in the front of the building to greet people as they walk in the door in an open office. And two young people were standing there, a 24-year-old named Tim and a 23-year-old named Jamie. And I said, "What can I do for you?" And it was about 9 o'clock in the morning. And Jamie blurted out, "If you don't change, we're leaving." And I said, "Change what?" And she said, "We don't like command and control."
We felt that the way he was doing things was great for him for the previous 35 years, but to keep things going, to keep us around, he needed a change.
Tim said, "We want an employee-generated, employee-maintained culture. We want to define the way we work. We're tired of command and control. We're tired of your brothers yelling at us, you yelling at us, spending the first 20 or 30 minutes of every day figuring out and trying to understand what mood the owners were in."
We realized that our future and the company's future were in people like Tim and Jamie's hands.
So for me, the defining moment was very simple. I couldn't lose them, and I couldn't lose their approach to business.
One of our advisors, our consulting chef at the time, recommended that we read the book Good to Great. Once we read it, the whole leadership team read it, including Tim and Jamie, and I think that's what sparked the idea in them of getting our culture down on paper and up on the walls and following the culture on a daily basis.
So one day in March, we started the process of developing the culture. It was March of 2006. And on a whiteboard in our conference room, one representative from each team started listing what their team thought were core values, important core values.
It's built on trust and mutual respect. It's built also on the belief that people are able to chart their own course and self-direct themselves.
I think the most important part is getting the buy-in from every single staff and not excluding them when we were developing the culture, and just asking their opinion and saying, "What do you think?" And with that buy-in, then they can't say, "You know what, I don't like this," because they were the ones that created it.
It took about 4 meetings for us to hammer out the details of all of those previously just mentioned things, plus to set your base camps. You set 1-year base camps, 3-year base camps, 5-year base camps.
We have a monthly Good to Great Council where we meet to discuss culture items, and it gives a platform for every person in this company to have their voice heard.
They broke down the departments, the silos, and got rid of the word department and got rid of the word manager and changed everything to teams.
One of the key things people want is lifelong learning. So we started Tasty Catering University.
We have an open door policy, and a lot of times people will say, "Hey, this is what I think," or "This is my issue today."
Where have you ever heard of a catering company that sits in a boardroom and talks about emotional intelligence?
We've got a full succession plan in place. We know that if Tom, Larry, and I were all hit tomorrow by the proverbial bus, exactly what's going to happen with the company finances, with the company succession.
We revisited our base camps, our 1-year, 3-year, and 5-year base camps, and the council had not even been 5 years old at the time when we did this, and we had already accomplished everything that we had set out to do.
Shortly thereafter, I was at a business meeting and I was handed a bunch of cards by our marketing director, Aaron, my new business cards, and I handed it to a friend of mine. It was at an Inc. conference, and he remarked, "That's an unusual title." And I said, "What's wrong with Chief Executive Officer? What's different about that?" He said, "That's not what it says." And I looked at the card and it said Chief Culture Officer. But when I asked her why did she do that to me, she said, "We all decided that if you make sure the culture is enforced, that we don't need a Chief Executive Officer. We don't need a president."